off. Harrington up the middle. Harrington, midfield, 40, 30, 20. Kate Harrington capping off a big night here in Huntsville. Harrington in for the touchdown for the Cardinals.
You are here on a full scholarship. You have everything paid for, but at the end of the day, it doesn't cover all basic needs to live.
When UConn won a championship, and they had a player after they won the championship that says they won the championship, but at night he gets hungry, and there's never the legal way for him to eat an extra meal. So it derived from players not really having food, coming from poor backgrounds, low-income families. And so then the bigger schools really started the idea of having a stipend. And from there, now when you recruit against schools that give stipends. If you don't, chances are you don't get the kid.
I think there are advantages to that, especially for kids that come from difficult situations financially, so that they have the ability to have some spending money, which they may or may not have at this current state in their life.
It is nice getting school paid for. Yes, it is nice to have your room and board paid for, but the amount of hours that we're up here, at practices, you go to bed, you got to eat. You got to, dining hall for on-campus athletes are closed. Is closed after night practices and whatnot, and you got to eat and you got to have a sufficient amount of funds to be able to provide for yourself. So I remember specifically having to ask my dad or my mom for money to be able to go pick up some food, and luckily I was fortunate enough to where my parents were able to provide for me in that area, and like I said, with the scholarship, it enabled them to be able to have a couple extra dollars for me to be able to do that.
With all the hours that's involved, I say, yeah, let's give these kids a stipend of some kind so they can be able to go to a movie with the other guys on the team, or be able to go to have dinner when the cafeteria is closed after practice, or after study hall they can go eat. The stipend is another way for our kids to have some type of financial gain, and so I'm all for it, because from a humanitarian standpoint, the kids that don't have should have the opportunity to have, so I'm all for it.
I think the difficulty comes in how do you administer that. So in other words, if you have a kid that's on 25% of a scholarship, how do you give that kid cash in hand so that that kid has the ability to go out to eat or to the movies or something like that? I think one of the things that may actually happen is that kids begin to choose sports based on that opportunity. So you may have kids that may be great soccer players, and they choose to go play basketball because basketball has the ability to not only give a full scholarship, but they also have the ability to give them cash, for spending money. Whereas in soccer, because it's a percentage sport, I'm only going to get 25% to do this. I may not even play soccer. If everybody was on a full scholarship, then I think you can begin to address that. Otherwise, then I think you're probably dealing with certain sports. I think that, then you're looking at the footballs and the basketballs receiving additional revenue to put in their own pocket, additional money for expenditures. But then what does that do for the rest of the sports? Then I think there creates this animosity amongst sports and between sports that you don't have to that degree right now.
I do understand that I am a student athlete. I'm here, I'm getting my education paid for, where a lot of people are having to take out student loans, having to have their parents pay for it, whereas I'm not having to do any of that stuff. I don't have to worry about if I'm going to be able to buy my books every semester. They're given to us. I'm doing this, it was a choice that I made to become a student athlete. On the flip side of that, it would be nice every week to get like some per diem or just something weekly to be able to help. I think the negative is people not using their money right. People blowing it on stuff, not using it for what the intent, for the purpose of it is. And I think that's why student athletes won't get paid because of that reason, because of the worry that university will have. Yes, you're giving the student, say, the university gives you $20 extra a week for meals only. Well, who knows what they're going to do with that $20? Even if it's $50, who knows what they're going to do with it? They might not. They might go buy a video game. You might go do something else with it. You might not spend it solely on food. And I think that's where the controversy is, you know, do you pay them for this, or are they going to take the money and use it elsewhere? And I think that's where the big controversy is.
I think it goes back to, do you value compensation for an education? Do you believe that to be, a pay issue? If you go out and look at, and I don't know the numbers, it'd be off the top of my hand, but how much does a person who receives a college education, what is their earning potential over the course of their lifetime versus someone who does not? You know, and so I intrinsically believe that there is value in education. So I believe that is a form of compensation, a form of pay. Do I realize that there are individuals who, you know, don't have the ability to go out and do some of the things that other college students do because of financial situations? Absolutely, I do. I recognize that.